Chapter 1. Athena Reborn. Berlin, 1878. Be still, you wicked girl, or I shall pin your ear instead of your hair. I watched Magda in the mirror as she worked, placing each pin with care. Her face hovered above mine in the reflection, as familiar to me as my own. The lines around her eyes seemed deeper now, though maybe I was only just noticing them. You're fidgeting. I am not. You are. You always fidget when there's an event you do not wish to attend. She pushed another pin in, not as gently this time. Hold still or you'll end up at the costume ball with your hair leaning to one side like a ship taking on water. I tried not to smile. At least tonight was a masked ball. I could hide behind the white leather and remain anonymous until the midnight unmasking, when custom demanded we reveal ourselves. Until then, I would be no one in particular. That suited me. The ball was my stepmother's idea. Everything I did not want was my stepmother's idea, though I could not entirely blame her. She did not mean me harm, she merely saw me as a problem to be solved, which was somehow worse. But one wanted to have purpose in life, and to her, my only purpose was to disappear from this house, where I was a constant reminder of what had come before. My stepmother now had her son Friedrich, 3 years old, and the image of our father. She wanted to get on with building her new family without the spectre of the old one haunting the premises. I had felt like a ghost since Papa remarried. Present enough to be an inconvenience, but not substantial enough to matter. She was trying her best. I knew that. It was her job to find me a good husband, someone who would treat me well and support me in the manner I was accustomed to. Marriage was just what young women like me were expected to do. The world had already decided and was only waiting for me to relent. I should help her, I should cooperate, but I resisted. There's no escaping it, Magda said, pinning another section with what now felt like unnecessary force. So you may as well let me make something of you. Most young ladies look forward to a ball. You know I don't like such things. What things? Dancing, music, company? Wearing these dresses, this makeup, having my hair tortured into submission. This is what young ladies such as yourself do. She met my eyes in the mirror, her patience wearing thin. They grow up, get married, and have children who grow up to torment their ladies' maids. We all have our place in this world. I envy you, I said. Her hands went still. You don't have these expectations. When she spoke again, her voice had an edge I rarely heard. My dear child, you should not envy the likes of me. But I do. You aren't treated like cattle to be sold off to the highest bidder. No? She set down the comb so hard it rattled the washstand. I work from before you rise until after you retire. I share a room much smaller than this one with 2 other women. When Herr Knopf no longer needs my services, I'll get a month's wages and perhaps a reference if I'm fortunate. She picked up the comb again. Don't tell me I'm free, child. My walls are just different from yours. Ich weiß. You're right. Of course you're right. Her hands paused on my shoulders. I know you feel trapped. I'm not saying you aren't. But there are worse prisons than this one. It's not just that. I feel so alone here. Sometimes I hear you and the others laughing in the kitchen and I stopped, not quite sure how to finish. You have your teas with the other young ladies. I hear you laughing sometimes, and your Greek and painting lessons. The Greek lessons were Papa's concession to my constant begging, indulging my obsession with all things classical. But I'm not like them, I said, my words coming out more forcefully than I intended. Their interests aren't mine. They talk about hair and dresses and boys, all things I have no interest in. And what of the young men? Magda asked, smoothing a blonde strand back into place. Her touch was the only real affection I ever received, apart from the occasional kiss on the forehead from Papa. Is there not one you're interested in? Nein, not particularly. But when I was younger, the boys treated me like one of them. We played games, climbed trees, and had archery contests. Now they look at me in a strange way, as if I'm made of spun sugar and might melt in the rain. Magda smiled at her own reflection. I miss having men look at me that way. You should cherish it, my dear. It doesn't last forever. But I don't cherish it, not at all. You must stop being so willful. She turned my head to the side, checking her work. You must learn to like it. In the mirror, our eyes met. I looked away first. So there are no boys at all you're fond of? She began pinning again, slower now. What about young Herr von Reinhausen? I was fond of Otto, but not in the way she meant. He was my friend, perhaps my only real friend, and that was all. In many ways, he had more in common with the other girls than with me. He was a lively sort who always seemed more interested in my hair and dresses than I was. We both liked art, opera, and ballet. We even used to take painting classes together before he began attending university. He was truly talented. He painted horses beautifully, capturing the lines of their muscles and the shine of their coats. But he always added a man riding the horse, often absent a shirt. I never understood why he didn't sometimes paint a woman riding the horse, or maybe just the horse. Has he never shown any interest? Magda asked. Has he ever kissed you? Niemals. The horror in my voice was genuine. Have you ever been kissed? She persisted. Several years ago at a garden party, a group of us young people gathered in the parlor to play wooden face. I didn't yet understand what games like that were for. The rules were simple. Stand still and maintain a straight face, no matter what the boys do to make you laugh. If one of them succeeded, you had to kiss him. I did not laugh, not once. I stood with my face composed while the boys pulled faces, told ridiculous jokes, and generally made fools of themselves. I felt nothing but mild contempt for the proceedings and was quite proud of myself for maintaining my composure. It took me some time to understand why everyone else found this so funny. The point, Otto told me later, was not to win. The point was to lose and to be kissed. Their laughter had been good-natured. It stung anyway. There had been other games that afternoon, one where a young man had to lower his trousers and show the girls something he oughtn't. I turned my head, mortified, but I'd seen Otto looking, intently. And I'd thought, if Otto was so interested in looking at something he himself possessed, shouldn't I have been more interested? Nein, I said. I've never been kissed. Magda made a small sound that might have been approval or resignation. Perhaps it's for the best. Young ladies who are too free with such things are often talked about. I didn't answer. She was right about everything, of course. My situation was growing more dire, and if I didn't act soon, my stepmother would eventually choose for me. Perhaps Otto would make a suitable husband. He'd never shown the slightest romantic interest in me, which was comforting. We were good friends. Perhaps he wouldn't trouble me about kissing and whatever else wives were expected to endure. Magda turned me around, her hands firm on my shoulders, positioning me so that I faced the window. Below, a gravel path led to our small garden. The staff still maintained the rose beds near the house, while leaving the patch in back untended. That was Mama's patch, her sacred space. They were still respecting it 6 years after her death. The ground where she had knelt, hands in the soil, skirts spread around her like petals. Where she had grown what she chose, not because it was fashionable, but because it pleased her. Herbs half hidden among the ornamentals. Walderdbeeren grew along the base of the wall where the stones stayed warm, their earthy sweetness intense in the way of things that belong to forests rather than gardens. I remembered sitting as a child, fingers stained red, the berries so small it took a dozen to feel satisfied. She would laugh as I ate more than I collected. They're sweeter when they're stolen, she'd say, though I was stealing nothing but her attention. The patch now looked like a monument of neglect. Mama would have hated it. Lean your head forward, Magda murmured, smoothing the silk across my shoulders. Next week I would clear away the weeds and tend it myself. I would keep the Walderdbeeren, but make my own choices as to the rest. I would plant what pleased me. I would kneel in the dirt the way she had, let the soil work its way under my fingernails, and I would not care that it wasn't ladylike. I loathed that word. Said with a particular inflection, as if being ladylike were the highest virtue a woman could achieve, and applied, it seemed, to most things enjoyable. In the garden, ladies could direct the staff, suggest plantings, arrange cut flowers in vases. What they could not do was kneel in the earth themselves, dig and plant and tend it with their own hands. That was common labor. Mama had not cared, I would not care. I spent a great deal of time feeling guilty about not feeling what I was supposed to feel. The thought of how much this would irritate my stepmother brought a smile I tried to suppress. Tending Mama's garden would not return her to me. I understood that. What I did not understand, not yet, was how it would connect me to her. The soil under my fingernails, the sense that my hands were doing what hers had done. Emilie, Papa's voice carried up from the entrance hall. I've sent for the Landauer. Nearly finished, Herr Knopf, Magda called back. She tested the structure of my hair with gentle pressure, then stepped back. There, now for the mask. She lifted it from the dressing table. A white leather columbina gilded at the edges, styled after the theatre masks of ancient Athens. I'd chosen it because Athena would not hide her face completely. Athena had no reason to hide. Magda settled it over my eyes and tied the silk ribbons at the back. In the mirror, the Parthenian goddess Athena looked back at me. The dress was white silk, meant to suggest ancient Greece with a sash of pale gold at my waist. My throat bare because the neckline didn't need adornment. Through the gilded mask, I saw Mama's pale green eyes. My hair was Magda's triumph, 2 hours of work coiled at the back in the classical manner, a diadem of twisted gold wire and small white stones set low across my brow, 2 soft golden curls at my temples, precisely placed.
Athena Reborn, Magda said with pride.
I took one last look in the mirror, gathered my skirt and moved toward the stairs. The voices reached me halfway down the hall. My stepmother's, low and urgent. Papa's, patient. I paused at the top of the stairs. Keep her focused. This is not meant to be a frivolous evening, Heinrich. We need to find her a match. Hildegard, please, calm yourself. It's not as urgent as all that. Papa's tone conveyed the mild exasperation of a man who'd had this conversation before. She's a lovely girl. It's only a matter of time before a match is made. Not if she refuses to even speak with the young men who approach her. Not if she won't dance. You must make her socialize, make her dance with whoever asks. Make her try.
You know how headstrong she is, but I promise. I will do my best.
A brief silence. Then Papa's voice again, softer. I do wish you would come with us, Hildegard. It seems a shame for you to spend the evening alone.
It would not do. Her tone was final, the kind that did not allow further discussion. For me to visit such a home.
For the love of God, woman. Papa's patience, which was considerable, had found its limit. All of society will be there. First Bismarck himself will be in attendance. All of proper society will certainly not be there. Her voice remained perfectly level, which was somehow worse than if she had raised it. There are families, good families, Heinrich, who will not set foot in that house tonight. And they are right not to. You may tell yourself that it is merely a social occasion. It is not. Hildegard, you attend because it suits your purposes. I do not criticize you for it. I dared not move until this disagreement between them was settled. But I will not reduce myself for coin. Just because certain men, my husband among them and apparently Fürst Bismarck, are willing to bear their hospitality does not mean I am required to do the same. Some of us still know what that family is. Hildegard, that is not entirely... Papa interrupted himself, apparently deciding this discussion was pointless. We will miss your company, he said finally.
You are very kind to say so, she said.
As I descended the stairs, I could see the top of my stepmother's head, her hair dressed simply for the evening. I suspected her absence would be explained away as tending to Friedrich, though my half-brother, who had just turned 3, was probably already asleep in his nursery. Outside, the sound of hooves on cobblestones. The Landauer arriving. Papa looked up, his face brightening. Liebling, you look lovely. You have to say that. I don't have to. I choose to. He smiled, the lines around his eyes deepening. My daughter, Athena herself. My stepmother turned. Her gaze traveled over me from head to toe and back again, assessing every inch. After a moment, she nodded. Magda did a wonderful job. You two have a wonderful evening. It was not high praise, but coming from her, it was enough.
I do wish you were joining us, I said.
Friedrich needs me here. She smoothed the front of her dress with the flat of her hand, a gesture that closed the subject. You will enjoy yourselves perfectly well without me. I was quite certain we would.
Papa offered his arm. Shall we?
I took it, feeling the solid warmth of him through the wool of his coat. We moved together toward the entrance where the footman held the door open. The Landauer waited at the curb, polished and gleaming in the evening light. The folding hood was drawn back, impractical in winter, but perfect for an April evening when the weather held fine. The body was painted black with discreet gold trim at the corners. Ernst sat in the driver's seat, reins in hand, his livery immaculate. He nodded as we approached.
Guten Abend, Herr Knopf. Fräulein Emilie.
Ernst. Papa handed me up first, his grip steady as I gathered my dress and stepped onto the small iron step. I did not know as I climbed into the Landauer that I would not return to this house the same as I left it. Looking back, I would change nothing.